Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Federico Talks Watches. Today, I'm going to talk about 6 things you should know before you buy a Rolex. Now, of course, before we get started, customary wristwatch check. Today I'm wearing my personal Rolex Submariner Hulk. So as you can see, I know the brand. I've owned 4 or 5 Rolexes in my time. I absolutely love this piece. But of course, also before we get started, don't forget to check out delraywatch.com. Bunch of beautiful watches in stock. We got in a few Omega Seamaster coaxials, very, very cool. A couple of very interesting Parmigiani chronographs, as well as some other things by IWC and a pretty rare Rolex Explorer too. All that and more at delraywatch.com, link in the description below. So yeah, guys, here in the watch collector community, for a lot of people, Rolex is their grail watch, the watch they aspire to, the watch they're dying to buy. And even if you're not a watch collector, if you want to buy a luxury watch, most people obsess over Rolex. Now today in this video, I wanted to talk about 6 things you should know before you buy a Rolex. And to kind of keep it evened out, I picked 3 good things you should know before you buy a Rolex, and 3, well, not bad, but not positive, not necessarily positive things you should know before you buy a Rolex. And you know, all of this is kind of based on my opinion, but you know, I have been in the watch industry for over 10 years. I've handled, I'm not going to say more Rolexes than anybody, but more than 99.9% of people out there. But take it with a grain of salt. Once again, all based on my opinion. So the first thing I'm going to mention is a Rolex, any Rolex, will last you a lifetime if you take care of it. Now guys, a Rolex is not a disposable product. It's a luxury product. And yeah, you'd think, you know, for $10,000, $5,000 to $50,000, which is the general price of Rolexes, that, you know, it should last you a long time. Well, you're right, but it shouldn't be a long time. It should be a lifetime. If you bring it in for regular service intervals, you take care of it, there's no reason you can't hand it down to your son and he can't hand it down to you know, his offspring. It should last a lifetime, multiple lifetimes actually, if taken care of properly. So even though it is an expensive purchase, I do think you get your money's worth if you really think that a watch can last 50, 100 to 200 years, you know, easily, if it is taken care of. So that is maybe something you can use to kind of convince yourself that, yeah, you know what, it really is worth the money, in my book at least. Now second, and I might get a little bit of shit for this, but it is true, a Rolex is a fantastic watch, but in the realm of luxury watches, it's not particularly high-end. In fact, it's very far from high-end. It's solidly middle of the road, middle of the range. Not to say that, you know, oh, you can't afford the good stuff, or you know, that it's a bad watch. It isn't. It's very expensive. I own one. I love it. But the truth is, in the realm of watchmaking, Rolex is like a BMW. It's smack in the middle. It's not a Ferrari. I mean, you have brands out there like FP Journe, H. Moser, Parmigiani, Keri Voutilainen, all watches that kind of, you know, if you compare them to Rolex, eclipse it completely. So don't, you know, a lot of people, especially non-watch collectors, think there's no brand in watches better than Rolex. Rolex is the best. Actually, you're very, very wrong. Rolex is far from the best. At least depends what you define the best to be, but let's pretend the best means highest end. It's very, very far from the best. It's actually kind of middle of the road. It's the target of luxury watches. Boy, am I going to get eaten up for that, but it's the truth. Sorry. The third thing you should know is that Rolex generally retains its value extremely well. What does that mean? Well, that means if you buy it and you enjoy it and down the line you want to get rid of it, either because you don't like it or because you need the money, God forbid, you should get most of your money back, and in some cases even make a profit. Now guys, I'm not saying you should buy watches as an investment, but as far as putting your money into a Rolex, the truth is you should get most of it back, if not a profit, on some models. And that's another very positive thing, because you can almost think of Rolex as kind of a savings account. I would only buy one if you can afford it. Now, if you're not liquid, don't buy a Rolex, but it is a very nice thought to know that if it is time to get rid of it, either because you want to or because you need to, you're not going to take a bath. That is a positive that can't be said about many watches, particularly if you're buying them at full retail. Fourth, and something I don't consider positive, Rolex, while a very good watch, is not particularly special or unique. Now, guys, I know a purchase like this is very expensive for 99% of people, for 100% of people probably, and I'm not downplaying that. But the truth is, Rolex makes about 1 million watches a year. So it's not particularly unique. You're not particularly special for owning or buying a Rolex. You're gonna see them on a lot of wrists. You're gonna see them walking up and down Fifth Avenue in New York. I mean, it depends what part of the country you're in to how common they are, but my point is, buy it because you like it, don't buy it to show off and because it's special, because the truth is, it really isn't. I mean, there's a ton of them out there. There's millions of them. Even the rare models like the Hulk and the Daytona, not particularly hard to buy if you have the funds. So for all those people wanting to peacock, bro, it's just a Rolex, not like it's an FP Journe Tourbillon. So fantastic watch, buy it because you like it, but be aware it's not exactly a piece unique, hard to find watch. Now to number 5, and probably my favorite one. Rolex is extremely tough, an extremely tough watch. You don't need to baby it. What does that mean? Well, for you new watch wearers or people just getting into it or people who are a little bit more cautious, there's very few times where I recommend taking off a Rolex. I mean, Rolex is so well built that you should be able to wear it for almost every occasion of your life. You can swim with it, you can do most sports with it, you can shower with it, you don't have to take it off when it goes to bed. If it's hot outside, you're not gonna ruin the non-existent leather band. I mean, very, very tough. Now, there are a few times where I do recommend taking it off, such as high-impact sports, going to the gym, riding a motorcycle is not great because of the vibration. But point is, as far as watches go, in my experience and in many people's opinions, there's very few, if any, watches in the world that are mechanical that are tougher than a Rolex. So, guys, I know it's expensive, but wear it, enjoy it. You're not gonna hurt it. And in the off chance that you do hurt it, you can get it serviced. It's not something super fragile. It's the perfect watch to wear at all times, in terms of activity, maybe not in terms of fashion or, events, but there's very, very few reasons to take off your Rolex if you're worried you're gonna, quote unquote, break it. And last, and the one that I think I'm gonna get the most crap for, but it is true. And I know a lot of people out there buy a Rolex because it's a projection of wealth. Maybe they want to show off. Once again, tying into number 4, which was it's not particularly rare, a Rolex is not a particularly big projection of wealth. Once again, it depends where you are in the country, but in Miami, where I live, or in New York, where I'm from, Hong Kong, most metropolitan areas, no one cares. No one's gonna notice your Rolex. It's a $10,000 watch. Yeah, a ton of money, but it's not $1 million watch. It's not a $100,000 watch, all of which exist. So all those people that are buying it because they wanna kind of flaunt it, go rent a supercar, go buy a flashy shirt, go get some alligator shoes. All of things that'll be more noticed than a Rolex, which honestly is so common that no one's gonna think you're particularly rich. It's almost, a wealthy working man's watch. I don't know really how to put it, but my point is you're not gonna particularly impress a ton of people just because you're wearing a Rolex. Now guys, some good things, some bad things. Some of you may think I'm harsh, but I'm just trying to put some thoughts into the heads of people that want to buy a Rolex. Now, the whole point of this video is to tell you you should buy it because you like it. If you love it, go ahead. I loved it. I bought the Hulk. I adore it. A Rolex is not a wrong choice. But there's a lot of positives that people don't know about Rolex. There's also a lot of negatives that people don't know about Rolex. I mean, if you really want to get the best of the best or something to flaunt, get a tourbillon. Don't get a Rolex. If you want a watch that you don't have to worry about breaking, don't get a tourbillon. Get a Rolex. That's perfect. That is the point here, to show you things that I think Rolex is and that Rolex isn't. Anyway, guys, I hope you found it useful today and enjoyable. Please give this video a thumbs up if you did. It really does help. And please don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any content. Guys, please stay safe and healthy during these times. I'll keep cranking out the videos. Thank you so much for watching another episode of Federico Talks Watches, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.